Seeing the time lapse. Okay guys, so it's been a while since I filmed a little update for you guys, but if you guys seen the time lapse, we basically just thrashed on this thing, had to change over a bunch of stuff. Obviously had to swap the twin disc clutch, get everything mounted up to the engine back together. Went ahead and had to yank off the oil pan and throw the metal oil pan that goes on there that I already have the little 10AN return bung. I had to swap all the K-tuned alternator bracket and everything. One of the things that does suck is I did have the nice billet K-tuned water neck stuff because the K24 head has the weird thing on the side. But this one has the outlet right here, so I should be able to get away with just kind of doing like a little 90 thing just over here. It's not as pretty, but it'll still work. And so yeah, got the fuel injectors, everything all plugged in, got the harness and everything rerouted, got the grounds hooked up, got the power hooked to the engine. I think it's ready to start. So I guess this is going to be the first start. There's no coolant in it, obviously, but I guess we'll just see kind of what it does. So first attempt. So super excited to actually see this thing run again. K2, I think this thing is gonna send like just perfect. So this turbo right here, this is a Garrett Gtx3582r, and it is their Gen 2 turbo. So I had basically the Gen 1 turbo on my S14 drift car, but I think that this thing is really gonna make this thing shine. Like this turbo should be able to support this build up into like the 700, 750 plus horsepower range. Which will be absolutely crazy, and should still spool up really nice and make a lot of power. So went with the T3 with the 0.82 AR exhaust housing. The other turbo that we had on it was the purple one that we pulled off of the Sleeper Civic, and so this is a 3082. So it actually has a bigger exhaust wheel than a normal, like a 3076, because this is basically a 3076, but it just has a bigger exhaust wheel on it. And this is 0.63 AR exhaust housing. So I think, especially with having the 2.4 on it, it would have kind of choked it out a little bit at the higher RPMs. And it was funny thing though is I actually put a 3076 with the 0.63 AR exhaust housing on my drift car, but I'm not going for crazy power, and it doesn't have the RPM range that this says. The rev limit on it's like 6,800, and the rev limit on this thing's probably gonna be like 82 or 8,500. And this thing's gonna make a lot more power than the drift car. The drift car is like 400 horsepower, super crazy response, full boost by like 3,000 RPM. This thing will probably be getting full boost, probably like 4,500, somewhere in there, around VTEC, maybe a little bit after, but then we'll be able to carry that all the way to like 90 or, you know, like 82 to 85. I'm gonna come back here tomorrow, probably go ahead and pull out these injectors and actually take them to my buddies and have them flow tested, and then double check all the wiring stuff on here, kind of clean up some loose ends, get this new turbo plumbed in on here with the feed line, the drain line, maybe try to run some water lines, and then actually run the downpipe and exhaust stuff too.
If you can't say anything real nice, it's better not to talk at all, is my advice.
So got the car running, got it all up to temp, got the cooling system all bled on here, got the intercooler piping, had to modify it a little bit right here. This was kind of the quick version of trying to get to the dyno. So I was talking to Brent this morning, and he said that if we got up there probably by like 3 to 4 p.m. at the latest, we could dyno today. They have some zoning issues right now that they're working out, so they can't dyno anything past 7 p.m. at night. Been kind of working on this thing. That was kind of the plan, is to take it up there, but didn't try to rush it a whole lot. So I got the exhaust, little downpipe thing. I want to actually put a resonator in this thing, and it sounds really nice. It's not like before. I just felt like it was really loud. Now it's kind of smooth, and it's not as annoying it just sitting here idling. Got the 3582 all plumbed in, got it all tight. Had to modify the wastegate stuff a little bit to kind of move around some stuff. I mean, it seems like it's idling pretty good right now. One of the concerns that we've had this whole time is basically the injectors. Flow testing them, maybe I messed them up when we were kind of shorting stuff to ground. So my buddy actually has a flow bench in his garage, so we're going to take these out in a minute and then take them over there and flow them. I just figured we'd kind of get this thing up to temp, get it all bled, make sure she's running decent, and
see what they do. Don't look too bad to me. Let the foam fall down. We'll see how even they are. Sometimes on the big fuel injectors, it's not perfect, but that's pretty good.
yeah.
That wouldn't worry me of anything.
Alright guys, so I'm not 100% sure where we left off earlier. As you can see, this thing is in here. Got the boost controller and everything. Basically ready to plug in. Right now it is on wastegate pressure. I did put it in. I did have this thing actually wired backwards. So I was watching Brent's video, and from the GoPro angle on the side, you could actually see on the air fuel gauge, it's a boost gauge as well. And it basically hit like 24 or more pounds. So in his video, if you watch it, basically this little indicator around the edge is the boost, and then air fuel is in the center. And then so what this did is basically the little tick was right there at like 24 when it was doing the pull. So again, I think basically my fault for having the wastegate and everything, the boost controller backwards essentially, or not even really hooked up, because I went ahead and I just ran it straight to the gate, just on the bottom of the gate, just tied it into the boost source, and it hits 8 pounds and it's super solid and feels really good. The AFRs and everything work. Decided to kind of play it around. I mean, I'm not an idiot when it kind of comes to like tuning stuff. I wouldn't trust myself like going crazy power wise, but the timing and everything on the ignition tables and everything in this is really safe. So I was just paying attention to the air fuel gauge and just kind of easing into it. I eased into it, drove it around for about 5 minutes, kind of playing around, kind of getting close to it. And then I was like, all right, let's see if VTEC works. VTEC ended up just crossing over just fine. It basically held 8 pounds, just super solid. It kind of creeped a little bit up to about 10 when I did kind of a little higher RPM pull. Yeah, I mean, everything seems like it's working the way it should. Other than I plugged the boost controller in and then it seemed like it was hitting like 16 pounds, and it was hitting the boost cap. Probably play with that a little bit tomorrow. We'll probably test this solenoid and do some stuff. And then I guess worst case scenario, we'll just put in like a T or something, or something to kind of increase the boost pressure, and we'll work on dialing in the 4-port later. Yeah, I'm stoked to get this thing actually on the dyno, and really stoked to have this turbo on here, the 3582. That thing is actually, it feels like it spools up just as fast or faster than the other one. Again, this is Garrett's Gen 2 like turbo technology, so it's they're pretty rowdy, and this turbo is actually capable of flowing 850 horsepower, but that's with a lot larger exhaust side. So they do make these things in like a T4 with like a 1.1 or like a 1.3 AR exhaust, and that's how it will flow that much. It wouldn't do that on this 0.82 AR with the T3. Should still be efficient to, I would say, over 600 on this build, kind of how it is. We're gonna load it in the trailer, and we are taking it to the dyno. So the next video you guys see, it is going to be up at PFI ripping again. I've already told Brant that she's been out here on the street, and that it's working good on the wastegate pressure. So he's really stoked to mess with it tomorrow. I'm really stoked for this project. If you guys are stoked about these builds and all this other stuff, we have another one in store for you pretty soon. Basically, we probably would have started on it if the Civic hadn't have actually blown up yet. But under this cover right here, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think is going to be the next build. I think it's going to be cool. I've always wanted to do something like this, and I finally did it. So let me know what you guys think. Appreciate you guys watching. Subscribe. Hit that. There's a notification bell too. Hit that, and see you later.